Enhypen's recent comeback, Blessed Cursed, brings together the sounds of rock and hip-hop and creates a powerful song that leaves behind a powerful message, imploring people to wake up and open their eyes, giving us the courage, along with them, to say no. But to who? Sometimes previously when I've spoken about Enhypen, I've, touched on the subject of idols and the idol industry, consumerism, and how their story and what they're showing to us ties into our real life. Sometimes it's easy to just sort of summarize in one sentence, and sometimes I talk about it for a little bit longer. Blessed Cursed and the songs on this album are not one of those times where I can summarize it in an entire sentence. In fact, I think that's going to be the bulk of this video. This message that they're trying to tell us is so deeply ingrained in this music video and the lyrics of this song and the images that they chose. A lot of the meaning that this comeback carries would be lost if I didn't talk about it. And there is so much meaning. First, you can tell that this is a little bit of a different sound for Enhypen, but examining their previous releases shows us that this was the direction they always intended for them to go. The genre of this song is a bit of a mix between rock and hip-hop, which isn't the most common of mixes, but like I said, Enhypen has been going this way for a while, because they've always been about mixing things up. Every single title track of theirs, for example, has two different ideas coming together. Given Taken, Drunk Dazed, Tamed Dashed, and now of course, Blessed Cursed. They're different points of views, or two opposites that maybe you wouldn't think to put together all of the time. But they are, and they're held together by a hyphen. Their namesake, Enhypen. In fact, even songs that they've released previously, like Mixed Up, do the same thing with genre, where it starts with an R&B hip-hop feel and then changes slowly into rock, which we're hearing today. So this change in sound is something that they've been working up to, and it follows through with the intentions they've already hinted us at. They are creating their own path with songs that mix things up. But also, them changing things is very prevalent in this music video. I mean, the opening for this music video literally has them watching the turn of the century. And the whole aesthetic, especially the clothes, really closely follows the Y2K movement of the early 2000s, which actually, we should talk about this because I think it's the catalyst for everything that we're seeing in this music video and in the song's lyrics. The year 2000, sometimes known as the Millenium Bug or Y2K, which we see pop up as text in the music video, was the turn of the century. And though every new year is exciting, this kind of brought about some extra excitement. Going into a new time puts forth a lot of potential for change and growth, which feels like a blessing. But there was a lot of other stuff happening around this time as well. A lot of fear. The term Y2K came to be of specific use in the late 90s, as it highlighted a shortcoming with computer programming that they had at the time. Basically, back then, instead of programming the year with 4 digits like 1976, they would simply use 276. Obviously, in context, people understood this to be the year 1976. However, this brought about an issue. At the turn of the century, when it flipped from 1999 to 2000, it would set all of the computers back to being 1900. Or in some cases, possibly make it think that 100 years had passed, which for banks and interest rates, that could be an issue. And this was a problem in the first place, largely because when these things were being implemented, they never expected them to take off or be a long-term solution. They didn't expect it to be so integral. So it was like, they didn't even think about it like, oh, that's 30 years from now, we're not even gonna be using this then. That's what the mentality they had was. Clearly, they were wrong. This became a huge concern for anything that was computer-based. People believed that financial institutions or government programs would fail, power plants would be brought down, nuclear explosions would happen, planes would fall out of the sky. Yes, really. People used it to push forward propaganda that, you know, the world was essentially going to be returning to the Dark Ages before technology was a thing. It would all fail because progress to fixing this wasn't happening fast enough. People were scared. Worldwide, companies and governments spent millions, and some estimates for this go up into 600 billion US dollars, trying to fix this before the turn of the century actually happened. And when the turn of the century actually came, not much changed. There were a few malfunctions here and there, but mostly everything was totally fine and generally fixable. It probably felt like people panicked for no reason. But of course, the reason everything was fine is because even though they started late and were scrambling to fix this issue, they took it seriously. It was a real problem and they'd taken the steps to fix it. And it worked. It actually fixed the situation. But what does this have to do with Enhypen? Well, it has to do with the lie that they are destroying and the truth they are exposing. This can be looked at both as part of their storyline and also as a commentary on society. We even see an explosion in the music video, which was one of the things that people in Y2K were worried was going to happen. And this explosion, by the way, does even happen in what looks like a server room full of computers. But we'll get to that. First, I want to explain something a little bit further. There is a line in this song that directly references the movie The Matrix. Luxury draped on my body, blinding me like a blue pill. The Matrix movie, which came out in 1999, the same year they're referencing here, shows us that society is literally living in a computer simulation. Something that Enhypen has referenced before as well, and not just with that server room. This is sort of shown with visual glitches, visible even in this music video, them walking the line into a digital landscape. Things that just sort of suggest that they're living in a computerized digital world, similar to the Matrix. In the movie, the red and the blue pills are offered to Neo, our main character, where he can either choose to continue to live his life however he wants and believes whatever he wants, the blue pill, our lie, or he can take the red pill and see how far down the rabbit hole it goes, to learn more of the truth, to be shown the world that has been hidden from him up till that point. All I'm offering is the truth. When you look closely, the truth is what is being shown to us here in the Blessed Cursed music video. In fact, Enhypen even admits several times throughout the lyrics of this video that they had been participating in the lie, in this fake blessing. This property that tamed me with sweet lips, luxury draped on my body, secret hiding behind the stage lights. I was dancing in the marionette's square. All of this leads us to believe that they were being tricked by someone, or something, or maybe a group of people, or society itself. They were being controlled by it, like a marionette. They let the luxury of the things they wore and used and indulged in blind them to their situation. In terms of their vampire story, which is a little confusing right now, I think that this has to do with them understanding themselves as vampires. They were gifted with power and strength, and at least in one dimension or other, an abundance of money, or at least the freedom to go out to as many parties as they want to. But all of that is just the blue pill, the one that drapes over and masks their truth. Like they mention in Let Me In, oh, shining blue might turn red. The lie might end up revealing the truth, that they were lied to about the greatness of this change, that they were maybe living or clinging to a dream, almost literally if we are to believe the web novel and webtoon, where they're dreaming of their past and are now starting to see it for what it is. In terms of society, the world that is being pushed into our vision through advertising and social media might not be the answer that we're really searching for. The choreography for this song, by the way, also helps tell this story. As Ash over on my Discord server pointed out, they actually are reusing a few moves that are in other songs that they've done previously, like this part, which was previously used in Upper Side Dreaming and Go Big or Go Home, both of which are songs that are about, owning a lot, living the dream, being that person, or, not accepting losses, only winning, having a lot of wealth, having a lot of success. But as has been pointed out, those things might be less of a blessing than they're thought of to be. And this idea is definitely something that they've been building up to for a long time. Not surprising there, this is Hive we're talking about. Even in their song Chamber 5 from Island, which was the show that they were created on, said this: "I closed my eyes and pushed it out of my mind, in case the word dream makes me go blind." Similar to how in The Matrix everyone is being lied to, we are watching them discover the truth and work around it, to realize that the lie that's being presented to them as the dream might not even be possible. But, well, ignorance is bliss, right?
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
We are told through a press release, and probably upcoming chapters of, the webtoon, that the boys have forgotten their memory. It's easy to live a lie if you've forgotten things, right? Or it's easy to ignore these things because the lie is easier to live in. But they're on their way to figuring out what this lie is, in discovering the truth. And I'm sure that what this is will actually be revealed to us in the webtoon sometime in the future. I mean, I assume it has to be with them being vampires, and probably it'll hint as to why they forgot their memories in the first place. I think that their Hyphen, Suha, in this case, the girl who's shown to be the main character, is going to be a bridge between vampires and werewolves, and she'll probably help with this reveal of the lie, but we'll have to wait and see. In our reality, we often see things that are presented to us as perfect. I'm sure you've heard that, Instagram is fake, TikTok is not real, idols and their perfect lives and their faces are also just not real. Even what you're looking at right now is curated to look exactly like this. My point is, influencers, advertisements, and the things you see on the internet are just not real. They seem to be living the dream and have these perfect lives and everything all together, but it's not really what's going on at all. What it is a lie wrapped up in a blue pill that is the internet and the algorithm, showing you exactly what you want to see, exactly when you want to see it, giving you the most satisfying content that will keep you engaged and clicking and watching for a long time. Whatever keeps you walking the line online for the longest. The lyrics tell us, the listeners, to wake up and open your eyes. Just like in the movie The Matrix, where Neo wakes up in the real world, just like Y2K, where we woke up to a problem before it actually happened, showing the reality of the situation that everyone is in. The eyes that were once closed are now open, and they can see. With Enhypen highlighting the turn of the century and things malfunctioning already in place, they have a chance to change their own lives as well. And I think they, in their story, take that chance. Or possibly someone does it for them, because the person in the room where all this stuff goes explode, we can't actually identify them. And interestingly, after that point in the music video, there are no more glitches. Yeah, we still see them through a fisheye lens, but it's not glitching. They are the ones in control now, not the system. The beginning of the music video, I think, shows their confidence in this fact. We're actually seeing the aftermath. In fact, they know that they're about to take away what's been controlling them. They're about to even things out, to level the playing field. In a sense, they're going to bring on what is essentially the turn of the century, a change where they can finally decide for themselves if the pill that they are going to swallow will be red or blue. And I know this because it happens to match up exceedingly well with another film from 1999, Fight Club, and this is the ending scene where explosions happen right after this. The fact that this is so obviously referenced tells me a lot. Blessed Cursed highlights just another key point of Enhypen that I've been talking about for a while, usually through the medium of the idol industry, and that is consumerism.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes. Working jobs we hate, so we can buy shit we don't need. We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't. We're slowly learning that fact.
That was part of another scene from the movie Fight Club, and there's a lot here to unpack in terms of why I believe they chose to reference this film. Fight Club's message highlights the dangers of modern consumerism, similarly to Enhypen. In that ending scene of Fight Club with the explosions going off, they are basically trying to destroy where the credit records are held. The idea is that they're going to start off a new era of financial equilibrium. Again, to even out that playing field. Ironically, this sort of disaster is what companies back in 1999 spent millions trying to stop and avoid. If you look at the No version of the Dimension Answer album, there is a frequent corporate setting in these images, ones that they are crushing. Like, the control the corporations have over them is becoming lessened as they crush it. Again, equilibrium. And this plays not only into their story as vampires, or their role as idols, but also for us as consumers, and just people who live in the world. I think we all know that corporations and jobs can actually really hold us down, and the pandemic has brought a lot of people's attention to this. But I think, as Enhypen says, we need to wake up and open our eyes and see the imbalance of power that is all around us, that we are perhaps giving to companies, corporations, and people who hold money and work to even it out. Corporations, ads, the internet, and everyone who perpetuates these things are the ones that hold the real power. And unfortunately, people have no real choice but to participate in the capitalistic landscape that is our current reality. So it makes sense. Here they are offering the truth. And they're showing us that, like the significance of the turn of the century, Enhypen are taking things into their own hands, and we can too. The titles that they had and who was in control, they've exploded it all. The machines that are controlling their life, just like the Matrix, are gone. And they are now in control of their lives. Or at the very least, like in the Matrix, they now see the truth of their situation. And the same goes for Fight Club as well. It's on them now. And the intro supports this too. Their day 2 is uncertain, because they are the ones writing their story now. They no longer have technology or companies controlling their actions and telling them what to do next. There's no schedule, and they're trying to get us to see that as well. That we can still take control of our own thoughts and actions, despite maybe having let it control us in the past and getting swept up in it. Like how Enhypen got swept up in the carnival and the parties and drunk days, where they indulged and, there was lavish decor. A shift is possible. I wouldn't be surprised if on their next album, Enhypen started getting writing credits. Just like how with Mixed Up they changed genres on us and basically told us that this sort of shift was coming, here they're literally telling us that they're staring at a blank page waiting for them to write on it. And I think that's incredibly meaningful. So where are they headed? Well, I don't know. Or, well, I'm not sure yet. In terms of them as idols, like I said, I assume their own voices are going to start to play a part in the writing that we see. In terms of their story, I think truths will be revealed. The vampires and the werewolves will be equalized. The webtoon has certainly already put things in place for that to happen, and I expect it to play out as such. But what about you? With the pandemic hopefully nearing its end, a new era is opening up to us. What are you going to do to further open your eyes? We have a choice. We can continue to play into what people want for us. We can continue to swallow that blue pill until slowly the nature of the red is peeled back and revealed to us by those who chose to take it. Or we can choose to open our eyes and see the truth that is being offered to us, and maybe even find a way to destroy the power that corporations hold over us and level out the playing field. Ugh, I just realized that throughout this entire script I missed something. Enhypen are part of a company that has a lot of success that has happened before them, and so there's a lot of success that they're riding off of. People say like, oh, they're riding off of their success because BTS was successful, and then TXT was riding off of BTS's success, but now TXT is successful, and so Enhypen have these expectations, a lot of pressure on them, and there is a line in the song that even mentions like, oh, inherited success or something like that, and that it's like, oh, and that's a criticism. But I think that's just a lot of pressure on people who are essentially teenagers and still children and still growing. And in a way, I could see the explosion of the system as a way of freeing themselves from those sorts of expectations as well. Because, yeah, I didn't touch on that, and that's because sometimes when you're writing a script like this, you get really into a rabbit hole, and then you forget that there's other things that you have to be talking about. I'm still trying to figure out the individual rooms in relation to each of the characters, but I think that's something that needs to be revealed in the future with the webtoons, so maybe I'll revisit those another time. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe with notifications turned on so that you're notified every single time I post a video. I'm doing weekly breakdowns of the webtoons, and of course I have other content planned and coming up that is more a little bit along the lines of this and less podcasty. All of my social media is linked down below. My Discord server is linked down below, where people chat every single time that things drop, and of course just regularly every day as well, so I suggest checking that out, especially if you want to join in on the conversation. And of course I do want to give a shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for your support. As it is, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay sunny, my friends. Bye!